Good afternoon, and welcome to the First Unitarian Society of Madison. This is a place where curious seekers gather to explore spiritual, ethical, and social issues in a safe and accepting environment. Unitarian Universalism supports the freedom of conscience of each individual as together we seek to be a force for good in the world. My name is Leslie Ross, and on behalf of the congregation, I would like to extend a special welcome to our visitors. We are a welcoming congregation, so whoever you are, we celebrate your presence among us. All are encouraged to stay after our worship service today for the last potluck of the year, no more until October. There's lots of wonderful food that will be waiting for you. Even if you didn't bring anything, you are welcome to stay and share a meal with us. And also special this evening, the Compass Points Religious Education class invites you to stick around tonight after the potluck for games, crafts, treats, and fun. The Saturday and Sunday classes are raising money for school costs for a student at each of First Unitarian Society's partner churches in the Philippines and Transylvania. Lots of games, all ages are welcome, and there is a suggested donation of $10 or more. This would be a good time to turn off all of your electronic devices that might disrupt the service. I'd like to acknowledge those individuals who are helping our services to run smoothly this evening. Kirsten Sieber, Susan Nickel, and Carolyn Sanders are our ushers for this evening. Bob Radford and Shirley Choser are our lay ministers. And I would also like to invite you to fill out the card that's in your order of service. Our ministerial intern, Julie Brock, will be leaving us soon. And if you'd like to write a message of farewell to her, you can do that. There are pens on a table just opposite where I am. There are also crayons if you want to do something a little more artistic. So tonight is a really special worship service. It's our coming of age worship service, the highlight of the year for me personally. Today we are privileged to hear from an impressive group of teens who have spent the past 8 months in our coming of age program. As many of you know, coming of age is the final class in our children's religious education program and is our rite of passage marking the transition from child to teen. The Coming of Age program offers experiences that help our teens to better understand who they are, who they hope to be, and what beliefs ground and guide them on their way. They've explored beliefs about God and death. They've spent hours in the wilderness without electronics and no one to talk to but themselves. They've talked with their elders about their own spiritual evolution, and they've looked more closely at our Unitarian Universalist principles and how they relate to their own lives and the choices that they make. After many hours of conversation and contemplation, they set themselves down to writing their own belief statements, which they will courageously share with you tonight. Now let's welcome our coming of age teens, the facilitators and the elders.
As surely as we belong to the universe, we belong together. We join here to transcend the isolated self, to reconnect, to know ourselves to be at home here on earth, under the stars, linked with each other.
Please join us as I say the chalice lighting. We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is the church of open mind. This is the church of the loving heart. This is the church of the helping hands. Now stand as you are able and greet your neighbor.
Kids to come up to the front for our story.
Okay, today we're reading a story called Click Clack Moo, Cows That Type. Farmer Brown has a problem. His cows like to type. All day long he hears click clack moo, clickety clack moo.
At first, he couldn't believe his ears. Cows that type? Impossible! Click clack moo, clickety clack moo.
Then he couldn't believe his eyes. Dear Farmer Brown, the barn is very cold at night. We'd like some electric blankets. Sincerely, the cows.
It was bad enough the cows had found the old typewriter in the barn. Now they wanted electric blankets? No way, said Farmer Brown. No electric blankets. So the cows went on strike. They left a note on the barn door. Sorry, we're closed. No milk today.
No milk today, cried Farmer Brown. In the background, he heard the cows busy at work. Click-clack moo, click-clack moo, clickety-clack moo.
The next day, he got another note. Dear Farmer Brown, the hens are cold too. They'd like electric blankets. Sincerely, the cows.
The cows were growing impatient with the farmer. They left a new note on the barn door. Closed, no milk, no eggs. No eggs, cried Farmer Brown. In the background, he heard them. Click-clack moo, click-clack moo, clickety-clack moo.
Cows that type? Hens on strike? Who ever heard of such a thing? How can I run a farm with no milk and no eggs? Farmer Brown was furious.
Farmer Brown got out his own typewriter. Dear cows and hens, there will be no electric blankets. You are cows and hens. I demand milk and eggs. Sincerely, Farmer Brown. Duck was a neutral party, so he brought the ultimatum to the cows.
The cows held an emergency meeting. All the animals gathered around the barn to snoop, but none of them could understand moo. All night long, Farmer Brown waited for an answer.
Duck knocked on the door early the next morning. He handed Farmer Brown a note. Dear Farmer Brown, we will exchange our typewriter for electric blankets. Leave them outside the barn door, and we will send Duck over with the typewriter. Sincerely, the cows.
Farmer Brown decided this was a good deal. He left the blankets next to the barn door and waited for Duck to come with the typewriter.
The next morning, he got a note. Dear Farmer Brown, the pond is quite boring. We'd like a diving board. Sincerely, the ducks. Click, clack, quack, click, clack, quack, clickety, clack, quack.
The end.
Okay, thank you. So now it's time for you all to go to your classes. So if you would like to follow Rowan the Duck out, he'll lead you.
Hi, I'm Harrison, and this is my belief statement. Evil is everywhere, from our schools to our workplaces and the world in general. But why is there evil? This has been a question many scholars have tried to answer. Many sources tell us that good is always better than evil, but I have a saying: good in the world are the high notes in the song, bad notes is the low. Both play an equally important role in the song of life. I have met many people in my 15 years on this planet, some good, some not as good. I always found that their behavior always had an underlying cause. These experiences have shaped my view on the world and human nature. It shaped my rules. Humans are always inherently good, and all behavior has an underlying cause. I knew a boy in 7th grade. He was one of those kids who showed his love through a swift punch in the chest, and, as many said, the largest of jerks. He wasn't a jerk in the violent sense. Just if you talked to him, he would verbally wreck you. I thought, wow, he's horrible. Better stay as far away as possible. But I thought twice about it. Why shouldn't I give him a chance? So I did. Being his friend was quite painful at times, but I learned he was depressed, in pain, and alone. Hold on one second. That's why he acted the way he did. This was a life changer for me. I learned so much from him and others that humans are not evil by nature, that there is always an underlying cause. I also learned that there are really two types of good. I believe that the types of good are selfless and equivalent good. People that practice equivalent good do some sort of good deed and want something back in return. Selfless good is doing a good deed because they don't do it for something in return. At school, there are the students that did their homework because they wanted a good grade and wanted to do things in life, and other students that did work because it was fun. This seems to be the case in all of life. People being good or bad is almost completely dependent on their situation. This I believe.
Hi, my name is Owen, and this is my belief statement. I believe in the multiple intelligences theory. For instance, there is academic strength, social skills, knowledge of oneself, and many more. Furthermore, grades aren't an absolute measure of academic strength, because organization skills and obedience also affect your grades. If you have less than average organization, even if you are historically good at school, your grades can drop, and it doesn't reflect your intelligence or worth as a person. Another point to make is that it is important to live in the present and not think years in the future. If you're doing course selection and see an interesting class, like, say, introduction to some cool thing, take it. Don't worry about this career path thing adults love to talk about. That just sounds like rambles. In conclusion, I believe in multiple intelligences and living in the present. And this I believe.
I believe in dogs. Dogs wag their tails when you get home and jump up and down and up and down and up and down over and over again, day after day, without tiring, because seeing you come home is their favorite part of the day. Dogs are always so happy. They lick your hands when you are dirty, they lick your mouth when they are excited, they lick your cheeks when you are crying, and dogs always know when someone is walking down the street. You might not want to know that, but they are still overjoyed to tell you that they have spotted a moving thing that could potentially cause harm to its family. This past week, I could have lost Flash, my dog. He threw up 7 times in just my bedroom. It was filled with blood. We looked it up and it said it could be cancer or tumors. I was so afraid. In the night, he was crying and trembling. There was diarrhea on the floor at 2 a.m., but it was more like a huge pool of blood. We took him to the hospital and they put tubes in him. All day at school I was worried, and the next. He's back at our house now, but I still worry. I would be nothing without Flash. I don't believe we are superior to dogs or that I am a dog owner or a master or a parent to Flash. Flash is my friend, maybe my best friend. He is always there when I get home, and if he isn't, it's probably because we are out together. Me and Flash are equal. He gets to sleep by my head in my bed, even though he hogs the pillow. He gets to sit at my feet when we eat dinner, even if he gets underfoot. He gets to have some of my food if I allow him to. Even my closest friends I rarely share food with because I like my food. But Flash can have bites of my carrots or part of my peanut butter sandwich because he's special to me. That's why I believe in dogs.
My name is Jet, and this is my belief statement. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That was a lie I was told ever since I could speak. But words hurt much more than the average bludgeoning weapon. Sure, the random kid calling you stupid in 4th grade shouldn't and won't have a collateral impact. If interpreted that way, the saying is 100% accurate. It's the comments, questions, and remarks made by your friends and family that send some of us into a wretched spiral of self-loathing. So many of the world's problems could be solved if people stopped only worrying about how they feel and also worried about how others feel. In my opinion, the way social interactions often work among teens is everyone playing off everyone to look better, sound smarter, and become more popular with those around them. And this often comes at the expense of demeaning those around you. I am terrible at this. I am always calling my friends stupid or ugly because I myself feel stupid and ugly. And the minute I say those things, I hate myself even more because they are mean and untrue, and because I know from experience how even one comment, missed and forgotten by everyone around you, can ruin your day in an insidious hole of resent and self-despise. A simple solution to this social battle royale would be for everyone to focus on making each other feel good and therefore look good. A simple compliment takes 3 seconds of your time, but can make someone's day. Some people already do this, and they are nice and loved by almost everyone and seem to feel great about themselves. This competitive way of interaction, I believe, is immature and accomplishes very little. Yet I have seen adults interact in the same way. That's why my resolve is to stop saying the mean things I say to make myself feel better, and to start focusing on the people around me, making them feel smart and beautiful and popular. In conclusion, life can be a lot like Hangman. Depending on what you say or do not say, someone might end up being hung. This I believe.
Hi, my name is Althea. This is like the 4th draft I've written for my belief statement. So I put them all together and I looked at them to figure out what pieces I wanted to put into my final one. And I realized that all of them had friendship involved in them. So I believe in friendship. I want to talk about a few in specific that have meant a lot to me. First, I want to talk about Leslie Ross. Leslie is always a friend. She is always kind and helps me when she is able to. Leslie is honest and is someone I will be able to talk to and count on no matter where life takes me. Janet Swanson. Janet is important to me because she has taught me how to see the beautiful side of some of the worst and ugliest things in life. Janet has shown me how to take happiness and grow it in my own life. Janet has helped me look at my own life differently. When I was dealing with some difficult people in my life, Janet helped me understand that while life was rough right then, these people helped me become a better person. Kelly Cracker. Kelly. She has raised me in this church alongside Janet and Leslie. I can always go for her for help and a good time. My favorite memory is when I was at a hospital and Kelly decided to come visit me outside of visiting time. So, of course, she pulled the minister card. So, when she left, my nurse came in and asked if I'd connected to God, assuming that that's what I believed in. And I was like, sure. We talked about hot guys and my craving for candy, which are both things that mental hospitals lack. Jackie and Renee. Renee and Jackie are freaking awesome. These are two of the sassiest women I've ever met, and I love it. They also never receive crap from anyone. I can attest to that. They always say what they feel and are never afraid to be themselves. I've spent a lot of time with Renee as my mentor and know Jackie outside of coming of age. They both always have such an uplifting attitude. Renee is like an older sister to me. I am able to tell her all of my troubles, and she always tells me that life is allowed to suck. I always find myself in great discussion with Renee. She really means quite a lot to me. Renee has helped me feel comfortable going on retreats. She gave me a rock and said that whenever I was feeling anxious, I would have that in my pocket and I could feel it and remember that she was there. I was at her house once and I was hugging her goodbye and I said, "I like being here because I can leave all my troubles at the door." She replied with, "No, come as you are." She means a lot to me and I hope to have her in my life for a very long time. Matt Selge. Matt is one of my best friends. We have been dating for almost 8 months, and he's one of the sweetest guys I've ever met. He's goofy, and I can joke around with him, but when something needs to be serious, we can be serious. I always have so much fun with him, and I hope to have him in my life for a long time. And last but not least, I want to talk about my favorite friendship of all, my mom. My mom is my #1 fan. I never forgive myself for how rude I've been to her as a young child, but in the past 2 years, she has become my very best friend. She's always there. She has my back, and she pushes me through hard times. I know I don't say this nearly enough, but I love you, and I'm so glad you are my mom. There are millions of other families that have adopted children, and the angels in the clouds found me for you. I know we disagree, and I know neither one of us are perfect, but who would want to be, because being perfect gets boring. But you have always been there, and you have raised me to be a dancer, a singer, a unicyclist champion, and most importantly, your daughter. I'm so thankful to have spent the late nights, the early mornings, the good times, the crappy times, the magical times, and the adventures, all with you. I love my mama, and my mama loves me. I'll sit here in the morning with a cup of tea. This I believe.
Sorry, I'm much shorter than the rest of my class. My name is Briseda, and this is my belief statement. I believe in family. I believe that when times are tough, my family is true comfort. Even if the pain is as small as not finding the right outfit to wear or as big as death, all I need is a little love for my family, and suddenly everything seems just fine, even when it isn't. I believe in family because even if you give them no love, they give lots in return. I believe in family because family is just always there for you. They don't judge you, thus they're brothers, because that's what brothers do. Hi, Gabe. Family is a necessity. Without my family, I wouldn't be the person I am today. Sometimes I take them for granted, but then I realize without them, where would I be? They've inspired me in many ways, and I'm thankful for that. They've helped me overcome obstacles that I never thought I could. I believe in family.
the light of a dark black night.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly.
All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arrive.
You were only waiting for this moment to arise.
You were only waiting for this moment to arrive.
I'm Aiden Dally, and this is my belief statement. Concerning measurability, my actions, and me. I don't have many beliefs. I used to think I didn't have any, but I do in fact possess one. I believe in a concept of self. In other words, I believe that I am me and that there is something which makes it that way. By assuming that this something is the atoms I am made out of, I conclude that if I was replaced by an identical being, it would make no difference, measurable or otherwise. Still, I feel that if I was replaced by an exact copy of my atoms, while it would not produce any effect measurable from the outside world, the new assemblance of atoms would not truly be me. That is because if all that defines me is the atoms from which I am made, then if an identical collection of atoms were to be assembled somewhere else in the world, which one of me would I be in control of? Neither of them can share information with the other, therefore I can only be in control of one of them. But because their arrangement of atoms is identical, they're both, in a sense, me, under the I'm just atoms definition. So in order to not violate my belief in the concept of self, there must be something that determines which one of them is me, and it must be unique for each person. In the 1990s, quantum entanglement was discovered, the relevant result of which is that things cannot share the same quantum state at some atomic levels. Meaning that there truly is some sort of physical uniqueness present in each and every individual that cannot be replicated without destroying the original. Therefore, there can only be one someone at a given time. That is not to say that there is also no unmeasurable uniqueness of a person, just that it is not necessary. One might say that because it is not necessary, you should just apply Occam's razor because it does not matter. But if I assume that something must produce an effect, which by definition would be measurable, on the world in order to matter, then I come to the conclusion that only measurable things matter. Because you cannot interact with unmeasurable things, and they cannot currently affect you, it would be hard to think that they matter. But if something unmeasurable, similar to heaven, existed that would affect you in the future, it would very much matter, even though you couldn't currently interact with it. Therefore, my statement that only measurable things matter could be incorrect. It is unprovable either way. The problem is that the way in which unmeasurable things matter is also itself unmeasurable. Consequently, even if this unmeasurable heaven did exist, the prerequisites for entering it would be unknowable. Therefore, any action that I take is just as likely as not to get me there, which ultimately means that I should not base my actions upon the existence of unmeasurable things, even if they themselves matter. In other words, I will act only upon that which is measurable, even if other things matter, as it is my only choice if I wish to act logically. Unfortunately, as French microbiologist René Jules Debose put it, sometimes the more measurable drives out the most important. In summary, I have one belief, which is that there is something that causes me to be me. I know that I am measurably unique, but I could also be unmeasurably unique, although the way in which that would matter, I do not know. I have come to the conclusion that when applied to determine which actions logically matter, Occam's razor works perfectly, but when applied to unmeasurable importance, it falls apart. Therefore, as an atheist would, I will act only upon measurable entities, whilst continuing to be agnostic.
My name is Brett, and this is my belief statement. I believe in a lot of things. I believe that video games are fun, addicting, and are great for hand-eye coordination. I believe that God is overrated and may not even be real for all we know. I believe the outdoors is peaceful and one of my favorite places to be. I believe that being a police officer or a game warden would be my dream job. I believe you shouldn't have to worry about what people think about you. You should just be yourself. I believe the new Star Wars movie was awesome and Kylo Ren is a total dork. One of my strongest beliefs is writing a belief statement is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. Ever since I was around 10 years old, I didn't want to go into this class or write a belief statement. When I was younger, it was because I was lazy and hated writing. But when I started getting older, I didn't want to be in this class because I had no idea what I believed in. I asked my mom and sister multiple times if it would be wrong if I said IDK, dropped the mic, and left. As you can see, they shut that plan down real quick. I was truly clueless. Then I realized that I believe in a lot of things. Maybe not huge, mind-blowing beliefs, but my own personal beliefs. Who knows if my beliefs will be the same next year? And I know they won't be the same in 20 years. I'm sure they could change 100%. Maybe that's why I found writing a belief statement so difficult for me. Because beliefs change frequently, and sometimes you don't even realize that they've changed. For example, a few years ago, a TV show called Gravity Falls came out. And I hated it. I believed it was stupid. But then the next year I watched an episode, and I really enjoyed it. Before I even realized it, I was binge watching them all on the internet. Just a few months ago, the last episode aired, and I was really sad that it was over. Obviously, my belief changed. A while ago in class, they asked me what was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do or go through. I shared an event that had been the hardest thing for me to do. But if they asked me the same question today, I would say something different. I would say writing a belief statement is one of the most difficult things I've ever had to do. I'm not very good at just saying, hey, I believe in this and that. It took me a long time just to come up with those few things I said in the beginning that I believed in. Even those weren't beliefs that were really deep, but they were my beliefs, and that's what matters. Not all beliefs have to be mind-blowing or earth-shattering. They only have to be important to one person, you, smiley face. Thanks.
Before I start with my actual speech, hi, I'm Silas. Before I start with my actual speech, I have a little disclaimer, which is that everything I say in this statement is only a statement of my beliefs. If anyone feels like what I'm saying is not true, then I encourage you to hold your own opinions over mine. I only ask that you may try to understand my opinion, even if I'm wrong. Thank you. The facilitators of our coming of age class told us that the question that we need to answer in this belief statement is, what do you believe? Well, that's a vague question. In fact, it may be even harder to answer than the question, what is the meaning of life? Great segue, I know. The meaning of life is actually simpler than most people like to think. To put it simply, it's a combination of many other questions. People have different takes on which of these questions are the most important. However, I found that the most commonly asked question out of all of these is, what should I do with my life? I believe that the answer to this question is to be happy. That happiness is the end goal of everyone's actions. I wish that I could explain more on why I believe this, but I only have so much time. Similarly to the meaning of life, the question, what do you believe, is made up of many other questions. I had a very hard time coming up with one, but luckily I had some help to find this question. That is, what have I learned so far in my life that helps me to make decisions? Something I've learned is that the thing that is most important is being happy. Whatever gets me there, whether it's helping someone, if it's eating ice cream, or if it's spending time with people who I feel safe around. It's all that so I'm happy. Sometimes I find myself unhappy over something dumb or something I have no control over. Knowing that being happy is the most important thing, I find it easier to let go of those feelings, those bad feelings. So this is one way I decide to live my life. I really don't know what any of this does for all of you, but I hope it can help you somehow. It isn't often that I get to talk to so many people.
Story of my life right there. Okay. Hey, what's up? I'm Reese, and this is my belief statement. What do I believe? When you think about it, it's a pretty dumb question, at least in my opinion. What do I believe? I believe this room and everyone in it to an extent exists. I believe that most trees and grasses are green. I believe that Donald Trump is not qualified for office, but that Bernie Sanders is. What do you want me to say? What do I believe politically, spiritually, environmentally, socioeconomically? Well, to keep things moving, and mostly for simplicity, I'm going to define this question in this particular context as follows. What beliefs that I hold right now do I think best represent me? Alrighty then. Now we're all on the same page. So what beliefs do I think best represent me? Well, I'm glad you asked. That particular question reminds me of a story, and oh yes, we have that much time left together. When I was 9-ish years old, I found out that I have dyslexia, which is a general term for disorders that involve difficulty in learning how to read and or interpreting words, letters, and other symbols. I'm glad you all got that. You would think this would turn out to have a negative impact on my life. I mean, it's kind of hard to live in this world and not know how to read. And in the end, it was hard. It did take me a long time to learn how to read. I'm still learning how to read. I can't spell very well, and what I have learned was very hard for me to learn. But I would never say that any of it was a negative experience. I got to meet some amazing people, learn the values of hard work, and to never give up. You see, I believe things just are. Whether they are good or bad, right or wrong, righteous or evil, that's up to you. Being dyslexic definitely shaped my life, but only in the positive ways that I let it. Which brings me around to my defining beliefs. I believe in a lot of things. Mostly I believe in a set of ideals that I think are important, and maybe none of them are earth-shattering or connected, but they're my beliefs. I believe that everything is relative, and what you make out of it is your decision. I believe things should be taken in moderation. I believe that human nature should not be repressed, but that certain aspects of it, an aversion to change, for example, should be moderated. I believe all humans are created equal, and that something only has meaning if you give it meaning. I believe that free will, to an extent, is an illusion, and that every end is a beginning, and that every beginning is merely another end. I believe you only get out of life what you put into it. I believe that I will keep fighting the more primitive side of my humanity for the rest of my life. I believe in intelligent, logical, and wise thinking. I believe in the scientific method and the pursuit of knowledge. I believe that one should always try to feel one's emotions, but never become them. I believe that many things and many amazing people have shaped my life, and I am grateful for each and every one of them. I believe in a way of thinking that sees all angles of a problem without bias, even if it is not my own. And finally, I believe that life is good, that I love you all, and that I'm very, very happy to be alive. And quick before we move on, I'm going to share a little quote of mine. A lot of people out there will tell you that life is like a bowl of cherries, or life is like a box of chocolates, but I disagree. I think life is like a really good joke. It's funny, but only if you laugh. It's best the first time, and it's the most funny with a friend, but when it really comes down to it, you really don't want to be the last one laughing. Thank you.
Hi, my name is John, and this is my belief statement. First, I would like to say that I have changed my belief statement twice now. First, I wrote about my everyday life, then about a hobby of mine. But what I'm going to talk about now is what I have had a struggle with. This past year, in many situations, I've had this question come up multiple times. What are you going to do in the next few years? Where are you going to college? What are you going to major in? What if you don't make it into this? What if you fail a class? These are some of the questions that have come up the past year, maybe because I'm in high school now, and I have about 4 more years of my life to make those choices. But not now. What I believe is that as human beings, we have a right to think things over. They don't have to answer right away. They have time to think. Maybe we're not ready to answer these questions yet, but when we are, let us take our time, and let us make our own decisions whether or not they lead up to what we want or not. Let us think it through. This is my belief statement.
My name is Nora, and this is my belief statement. We depend on nature not only for our physical survival, we also need nature to show us the way home, the way out of the prison of our own minds. We got lost in doing, thinking, remembering, anticipating, lost in a maze of complexity and a world of problems. We have forgotten what rocks, plants, and animals still know. We've forgotten how to be still, to be ourselves, to be where life is, here and now. Eckhart Tolle. For the past few weeks, I've been writing a lot of thoughts down as they come in an effort to help me write this. I've thought a lot about strength, specifically overcoming fear. As a child, I was fearless. I would talk to anyone and try anything. When I went to middle school and became a teenager and all that fun stuff, I lost a lot of that fearlessness. I was somewhat of an anxious person sometimes. Even now, I still feel some of that anxiety when I'm in uncomfortable situations or when I have to push myself to do something I don't want to do. I let fear control me and stop me from doing things that could have made me happy or given me experience. I believe that it's okay to be afraid, but it's not okay to let that fear stop you from doing anything you want to do. I've noticed that I've changed a lot in the past few months. I've learned a lot of things, and I know this class and this whole experience has changed me. Now that I've officially made my transition from childhood into being a teen, I can truthfully say I've left a lot of that fear behind me. I think it's important to realize how much we hold ourselves back and not do things because we would be more comfortable or we're fine where we are. I believe in waking up and doing everything I can. I believe in living. I believe in being present with the day, with the people I talk to, with the things I work toward, and letting myself take a moment to just be. This is why I believe in music. It has the ability to stop time. When I'm playing, I can forget everything, all the things I have to do and all the places I have to be. I can take time to stop and just be with my music. I think this is something we don't make enough time for, simply being. I believe in less anxiety, worry, less frustration, and more peace with myself. I believe in taking each day for exactly what it is. We've forgotten how to be still, to be ourselves, to be where life is, here and now. This I believe.
Hello, my name is Alex, and I'm here today to share my belief statement with you. So, nice to meet you guys. I believe that my beliefs are a combination of transcendentalism and earth-centered traditions that center around our third and seventh Unitarian principles for encouraging spiritual growth and respect for this independent web of existence that we all share. Originally, I believed that God was perfect. I mean, most people do. But now, I believe that if God had transcended to perfection, what reason does this universe exist? It wouldn't make sense, since the second it was made, it would be perfect. It wouldn't have the ability to expand or grow like it is right now, and like we all are. Nothing would be different. And when you think about it, everyone would be carbon copies of each other. If we were perfect, we wouldn't be able to grow or search for the truth that is one of the principles that we hold very dear in this church. Every person is unique with free will, but at the same time, they are an interconnected part of this universe. In this way, we can search for the truth that we so desire. Imperfection is what makes the universe and everything in it beautiful. I believe that imperfection in human beings is beautiful. You may think, why do I think it's so beautiful for humans to be so imperfect? We make mistakes, we fall, but here's the thing, we get back up and we are a better person the next time. We go forward, we'll stumble, we'll fall. I mean, who doesn't? It doesn't mean that we're any less than any other being or any other object in the universe. It just means that we are imperfect and we have the right to get better and be better people. Another reason our imperfection is beautiful is because of our impermanence. When I talk about this, I usually think of a bit of a metaphor that I have. Now think of a rose. Roses, once they're picked, they're only there for around a few days, and then they'll start to wither. In a sense, it's the same with everyone here in this room. We have our lives, we'll grow, and eventually it will end. But we were there in that moment. Just like that rose, I was there for a few days. We are here for the years that we have spent, and we were there, and we weren't there forever. We didn't fade into the background. We are here, and we left our mark on this world. In a sense, the reason why I think impermanence is beautiful is because it isn't there forever. And we can go and appreciate that it was beautiful because it didn't fade into the background. It was there and it was beautiful for the time that we had it. I also believe that every person has an energy. And when we interact with each other, we leave a bit of an impact on that person's energy. I have a metaphor for this too, so. Let's say one person's energy is colored red and the other's is colored blue. Then the second that they meet, then they leave an impact on each other. And each one of them gets a bit of purple for the rest of their life. To remember that impact and to grow from that impact that the person has. And I believe that this energy goes and stays with us into our next life and the life after that. Energy constantly floods into the universe because the universe is constantly expanding. The energy flows from one living thing to the next, And as one living thing dies, another is created. Death is not permanent. It's a metamorphosis into a different being, into a different self. So in conclusion, I believe that we need to value imperfection because it gives us an opportunity to grow, and impermanence because it allows us to appreciate the short life that things live. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Duncan, and this I believe. How do we know what is important? I believe that everything is just as important as everything else until we change that. I believe things are only as important if we give them credit or meaning. This year in English class, we read a book called Nothing. In this book, Pierre Enfant, a 7th grade boy, decided that absolutely nothing mattered. So, he walked out of school one day and just climbed up in a plum tree and began throwing plums at passerbys. At first, I thought, what is this book? Why do we need it? It's so random. But soon, nothing intrigued me. I promptly ate my own words, and let me tell you, they were delicious. And began talking about nothing to anyone who would listen. Pierre is someone you would call a nihilist, someone who believes life has no meaning and nothing matters, so in the end, we all die and there's no consequence for our actions. I am an existentialist, and I believe that things only matter if you give them credit or meaning. Things that distress you shouldn't take precedence over what you love. This I believe.
My name is Layla, and this is my belief statement. I generally don't say that I believe in a higher power. I say this because I'm not sure one exists. You see, it's not that I don't want to believe in one, like a god for instance, or that I'm sure there isn't one. It's just that I don't know. I don't want to say I believe in something when I'm not sure it's real. I want to keep my options open by not tying myself down to any belief like that. I mean, if there is a God, that's awesome. If there isn't one, that's fine too. If there are 50 gods and goddesses all jumping at each other's throats when they have the chance, well, I'll just have to deal with it. Belief is a synonym for opinion, and the definition for that is a view or judgment formed about something, not necessarily based on fact or knowledge. I don't want to form an opinion about something I have never experienced, like death or a higher being. I want to wait to say something is true until I actually know that it is. And then I won't really have to say I believe, I'll be able to say I know. However, this is not a statement about why I don't believe in something, rather about what I do believe in. I find many things agreeable in different religions, such as the Christian saying, "Do unto others as you would have them do unto you." I think that the Buddhist belief in genuine compassion is really nice. I like the yin-yang from Chinese philosophy and how it represents light and dark, or any other opposites, being connected and dependent on one another. I appreciate how the word salama, the source for the word Islam, can be translated to peace and purity. Most of the things I just mentioned seem to follow a certain theme, one of being open, caring, and non-judgmental. I don't care about what you believe in, what color skin you have, or your sexuality. I think that everyone should be free to think, feel, and be what they want, as long as it doesn't negatively affect others. Our own UU principles pretty much sum up what I think, but the 6th is my favorite. The goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Earlier in this statement, I said that I don't want to have an opinion about something I have never experienced. Something I do have experience with is showing a person compassion and letting them know that I care, even when no one else did. I know the effect it has on them, and the effect that a kind word can have on thousands of others. Therefore, I freely state that I believe in something that isn't tied down to any one religion. I believe in kindness and acceptance, and that is something I think we can all believe in. Thank you.
I believe in the bassoon. The bassoon is an instrument that I play, but one that many of you may not have heard of. It is a double reed instrument and looks like this. This monstrosity is oversized, unwieldy, unbecoming, and my way into college. The bassoon has a very wide range and can have a very nice tone, depending on the reed and the player. It is also very expensive. Buying a performance-level bassoon costs as much as paying tuition for the majority of public universities. Reeds for the bassoon are not cost-friendly either, coming to around $20 a piece, and if used regularly, they each last about a month. That is why many bassoonists choose to make their own reeds, a stressful ordeal which results in either financial salvation or a heart attack. I believe in the bassoon because it and I share several characteristics. Saying that I am like a bassoon is a very accurate simile. The bassoon has a very wide range of notes, as I mentioned before, and that corresponds to my wide range of interests. In one memorable piece that my bassoon teacher played at a concert, the bassoon part included a solo that spanned 3 octaves in the space of just a few notes. A span of 3 octaves sounds like this. It was a very far distance to play in a solo. Professional bassoonists can get up to 4 or 5 octaves in range, which is one of the farthest ranges of any wind instrument. I currently know only 3 octaves. Those 2 notes were my lowest and my highest, respectively. But I am certainly capable of learning another before I finish high school, just as I shall develop more interests as my life progresses. My interests are quite extensive even now, however, covering around 3 octaves themselves. I like sports, music, role-playing games, and reading, especially the fantasies genre. Therefore, my time is almost exactly evenly divided up amongst playing the bassoon, playing Dungeons & Dragons, or D&D, playing volleyball, doing taekwondo, and reading, as well as countless other activities that I spend less time on, such as future problem solving. My pastimes are as varied as the bassoon's pitch capabilities. Another major way the bassoon compares to me is that we are both different from most others in our respective areas. The bassoon is different in many ways from all of the other instruments, not just because of its extensive range, but also because of its shape. No other instrument looks anything like the bassoon, not even the contrabassoon, its closest cousin. The contrabassoon looks like a bassoon that has been folded over and played upside down, and so is nothing like a normal bassoon. The bassoon is also unique in regards to its position within the band or orchestra. The presence of the bassoon is vital to ensure the ensemble's first-rate sound production, but bassoonists are quite a rarity. That is why I said earlier that the bassoon is my way into college, as there is a good chance that I will get at least a partial scholarship for playing the bassoon, even if I am not good enough to earn it on a more common instrument. I am therefore different from most people in that I play the bassoon, and in that my interests vary so widely, but also for other reasons. I am different in that I play men's volleyball, an extremely underappreciated sport, and in that I don't really have a major belief in any ideal, which is a big reason I'm writing this statement about an instrument. The bassoon and I are similar because we are different. A third, and due to time constraints, final way I am similar to the bassoon is centered around the factor of room for growth. I have lots of room for growth, being only 14 years old, and my bassoon playing capabilities can grow at least as much as I can, both mentally and physically. It is impossible to reach the metaphorical skill ceiling on the bassoon, and even the most advanced players are still learning new idiosyncrasies of this quirky but marvelous instrument. My abilities are far less than theirs, but I have the potential to climb high. I can grow a lot in all of my other interests as well, and I am optimistic enough to think I will be able to meet most of the goals I set for myself in the coming years. I will advance in intelligence, hopefully height, skill in all that I do, and above all, ability on the bassoon. This I believe.
Hello, my name is Rowan. We'll have a speech straight. Come, give us a taste of your quality. Come, a passionate speech. Well, I kind of have a passionate speech. I'd like to say it's passionate, but here it is. Hamlet is great, guys. I believe in Shakespeare. Okay. Now that I've referenced him, lovely man, I'm gonna switch over to a quote from the Oxford Dictionary. As I read this definition, the word and its idea stuck with me. And so here I am in front of all of you with a great word and idea. Unexistentialism. A philosophy, theory, or approach that emphasizes the existence of the individual person as a free and responsible agent, determining their own development through acts of their own will. Now, I'll elaborate. I spent 6 hours on a cliff overlooking a meadow and a lake with a flock of geese a few weeks ago, and while I was there, even though there were so many things to distract me from the busy world behind me, I thought about people. We are all unbound in our actions. They are only driven by motives such as love or hate. But you or I have the power to decide that you or I are bound by no one, that we are free and responsible agents of our own actions for the better here on earth. I've found people to be amazing. I have laughed with people, cried with people. I've learned about the bassoon with people. I've milked goats with people. Oh dear, I've barked at people, mourned with people. Sure, this idea of existentialism, it may say that we are alone here on earth, but that may very well be true. If there is no Jesus Christ, no Buddha, yeah, I really like their ideas. But if we're alone, well, what do? We have made beliefs. We have our values, hopes, and systems. Most of all, we have people. We have a community that will never fail to strive for better and not just accept things that being okay. Okay, so I got up here and I made this pretty readily obvious statement, and now I don't have a lot else to say. People are beautiful. Oh my goodness. I could talk to anybody in this room and be inspired. So, wow, okay. So what I can say I got out of this year and the last, I realized how beautiful is overused for people, and so I refuse to use it in this way. People are blank, okay? Imperfect people really are wonderful. I am ridiculously in love with people. This I believe.
What a joy it is to be celebrating another coming of age ceremony and the culmination of another coming of age year. This is truly a moment to stop and give gratitude for our youth, for the gift of their insights and their wisdom, and to recognize that their classroom learning here at First Unitarian Society may be over, but their journey of lifelong learning on their own has now begun. Throughout this year, our youth have begun in earnest to study themselves, to get to know themselves, examining their beliefs and their values, their ideals and aspirations. With their belief statement, they have given us just a glimpse of where this process has led them thus far. And we would pause for a moment here to thank those who've walked with them on this journey. We'll begin with those in our gathered community who have served as the adult facilitators for coming of age, who have given our youth direction, insight, wisdom, and guidance throughout the past year. Their task was a challenging one. They have brought patience, good humor, much love, and compassion. Nancy Cotter, Ann Fleming, Sam Lawrence, and Jim Shuey. also pause to give thanks to our coming-of-age elders. Each youth is matched with an elder from the congregation, a person who was carefully chosen to embody the thoughtfulness, kindness, and commitment we hope to encourage in our youth. Throughout this year, our elders were steadfast. They took this work cheerfully and joyfully, and we owe much thanks to this group. We honor them now by asking that each one of them stand as their names are called. John Cotter, Tracy Grady, Jackie Ennenbach, Lenny Guzman, Depesh Navsaria, Renee Rice, Dave Waylow, and Amy Schultz. And if our youth will now come to the front.
One of our belief statements included the note, "Aren't people wonderful and lovely?" And indeed you are. To all who have gathered here this afternoon, we ask that you remember your important role in the spiritual and the moral development of these youth who are now standing before you. Where they journey from here is not entirely up to them. It is, of course, up to all of us. We must remember that deepening their experience of our faith tradition, Unitarian Universalism, is not the responsibility of parents and advisors and mentors alone. And helping them to blossom as loving and conscientious human beings is a responsibility that all of us together share. And now that these youth have completed their coming-of-age year, your responsibility is even more relevant and more immediate. For these young men and women, you can serve both as an example and an inspiration of how people live out, not just on Sunday, but every day of the week, their spiritual values. Through you, they can observe Unitarian Universalist faith in action. There can be no greater or more effective teaching than our good example. And so will you continue to encourage the spiritual growth of the youth that you see before you? Will you value their insights, their emerging convictions, and will you recognize the gifts and the talents that they bring to our community and the enthusiasm and the hope that they bring to the larger world? If so, please say, "We will."
And now to our youth, to all of you. We recognize today the work you have done during this past year, and we are grateful for the gifts and the talents that you have brought to us in your time here. Will you continue this journey you have begun to grow as an individual, expressing your beliefs, growing in faith, and continuing to question and explore? If so, please say, "We will."
And now we would like at this time for the parents of our coming-of-age youth to please stand. And so you, my friends, above and beyond everyone else, you have been witnesses to the unfolding and the maturing of your child from their birthday until the present moment. In the beginning of this coming-of-age year, we asked for your permission for your child to come of age. And now we ask, will you continue to open your hearts in order to receive your child back into your family for all that they have become during this past year? Do you promise now to continue your journey together with respect, patience, guidance, and unconditional love? And if so, please say, "We will." You may be seated.
At the dedication of a child, we give to each a rosebud. fragrant symbol of beauty, promise, and love. The rose we give then has no thorns, symbolizing the better world we would like to give to our children. We hope that these children whom we have dedicated will learn to recognize the beauty and goodness which does exist, and that they will grow in wisdom and compassion, and that they will add their own beauty to the world. Our hope is that as each rosebud unfolds in all its natural beauty, so may the life of a child unfold. Today, we give to each of these young people a rose in full bloom, symbolizing the beauty and the gifts that they already give to our world and the natural beauty that is found in each of them. Yet this time, the thorns are still intact. When you were a child, we could do our best to shield you from the harshness and cruelty of the world. But now, as a youth, we can no longer protect you from all that you encounter, both the beauty and the brutality. But no matter where you may go and how far you may travel, you will always be with us in spirit, and we will always be sending blessings your way. So accept these roses, knowing that there are harsh realities in this world, but there is much beauty as well. May you choose to see the beauty. And now, as we do when you are young children, we ask that you be granted clarity of thought, integrity of speech, and a compassionate heart. May the blessings of strength, integrity of purpose, and love received and given be yours today and remain with you as you go forward into ever fuller life. If you will join me now in congratulating our youth. And if you will rise now in body or spirit for our closing hymn, number 1074.
In the end, it won't matter how much we have, but how generously we have given. It won't matter how much we know, but rather how well we live. And it won't matter how much we believe, but how deeply we love.